Dear students, today we are going to learn a very important device which is known as cyclotron. This device is used to accelerate the charged particles, especially the positively charged particles, because it is not able to efficiently accelerate the negative charged particles, that is electrons, which are very lighter, and we will know why this happens. But before we talk about such things, let us look at the cyclotron. Cyclotron is a combination of three things. One is the magnetic field produced by strong solenoids, and another is a hollow D-type structure, which is a cavity, means hollow or D-type structure which is cut into two pieces. You can look it like a tiffin box, cylindrical tiffin box. When you cut it into two pieces, you will have the two structures like this. You can see when you see from the top, it will look like this. Of course, it is circular, and there we leave a gap between the two pieces which we have got on bisecting the tiffin box into two pieces. So that way you can look at this. These are called D's, and it is hollow box, it is hollow cylindrical container, and these two D's are connected to some AC source which is having some frequency omega, and which is supplying EMF. Instantaneous EMF is E0 sin omega t. Now you can understand that for AC currents we have EMF of alternating nature, and therefore the name alternating current, because at one case, at one time it may be positive in one direction, and after some time it becomes negative in same direction, means it keeps reversing its polarity. So that we will talk extensively about the AC in the coming chapters. For the time being, let us take that the polarity of the EMF supplied to these two D's are keep changing after a regular interval of time, and above and beneath the box, you see the box is there somewhere in between, and above and beneath the box we have the north pole and south pole of a solenoid, so that we generate an electromagnetic field in vertically upward direction, as you see in the diagram. We have magnetic field in vertically upward direction which covers the whole area of the D, and then when a charged particle is released at the center of the D, what happens? Due to some EMF applied across the two D's, this charged particle will be accelerated along the direction of electric field which is produced due to different opposite polarity of the two D's. Say for instance, let us say we are having a positively charged particle proton which is being released at the center of the cyclotron, and at that time, let us say D2 is negatively charged and is having negative polarity, and D1 is having positive polarity. In that case, you can see the red line. It shows the path along which the charged particle moves. So while this situation exists, the charged particle, positive charged particle, will be attracted towards the surface D2, and therefore it will move along a straight line while it is in between the gap. This area is called gap. This is called the gap of the cyclotron, and while the charged particle is moving within the gap of the cyclotron, the charged particle will be accelerated due to presence of electric field. due to presence of electric field, and the force acting on the charged particle will be charged into the electric field at that time. Once it reaches into the D area, means it reaches into the cavity part of tiffin box, what happens? Now no longer electric field exists, because we know that electric field inside a conductor is always zero, but magnetic field is there, and therefore, and due to the Lorentz force acting on the moving charge particle, this charge particle will be forced to move in a circular path, and it keeps moving till it reaches the gap of the D again. But in the meantime, we keep the frequency of AC attached to the two Ds, such that in the meantime the charge particle reaches the gap once again, while it moved from point 0, that is center, and reached here, the first starting point. Then it reaches the gap. The time in which it reaches the gap once again, in the same time the polarity of the EMF due to alternating current, alternating source, is reversed, and as a result again the charge particle finds a favorable field, electric field, for getting accelerated, and then again it gets accelerated under the influence of the force charge times the electric field acting on the charge particle, and then it reaches the D area, D1. Once it enters the D of D1, now no longer electric field acts on the charge particle, but Lorentz force acts on it, and due to this the charge particle now moves in a circular path, but this time the radius of that circular path will be greater than that in previous case. This is because the velocity of the charge particle after crossing the gap second time, the velocity increases, and once the velocity increases, you can very well understand the force, the magnetic Lorentz force QVB, here V is increasing, will also increase, and once this Lorentz force increases, you see that Lorentz force is providing the necessary centripetal force, and so therefore the radius of the circular path, you see we have already calculated earlier, will be equal to mv divided by qb. You see mass of the charge particle is fixed, charge and magnetic field is fixed, then if we increase the velocity, the radius of the path also increases. So as a result, each time the charge particle crosses the gap, it accelerates, and then on entering the D area, it follows a circular path, and of course a circular path of bigger radius. So that means by and by the velocity of the charge particle is increasing every time it crosses the gap, and it is forced to move on a circular path so that it do not stray away. But finally the charge particle will acquire the circular path which is just able to be within the D. And so now if we don't eject it, what will happen? The charge particle will collide with the body of the D, and there it will be absorbed. But that is not our purpose. So we use a deflector here, it denoted by D. Once the charge particle reaches there with certain high kinetic energy, it is incident on the deflector, where it is forced to emerge outside the window. We have a cut in the D surface, so the accelerated charge particle emerges out. Now once we get the accelerated charge particle, we can apply it for so many applications we shall be talking right now. But before we actually talk about it, we can see that the velocity of the charged particle will be given by UC mv square by r, that is centripetal force is provided by the Lorentz force, and therefore mv square by r is equal to qvb sine 90 degree, because you see the magnetic field is a vertically upward direction and the particle is always moving in xz plane, so it is always at 90 degree, and therefore we have sine 90 degree, and sine 90 degree is 1. So we get the velocity of the charged particle equal to qbr by m. This is, we are adding attaching suffix p because we are having the protons being accelerated, and then kinetic energy of the charged particle will be half mv square. So on putting the value of v, we have mp is here in the numerator and mp whole square is in the denominator, so we are left with the velocity of the kinetic energy of the charged particle becomes half qp square v square r square by mp, and linear momentum of the accelerated particle will be again given by the product of mass and velocity of the particle, but velocity we have already derived. Velocity is qbr by mp, therefore we get mp into qbr by mp, so these mp in the numerator and denominator cancels, that means linear momentum becomes qbr. So that means as the radius is made larger, the linear momentum will also be larger, because charge is fixed, magnetic field we can have certain limited value,